Hi, Dr. Mark Worthington, clinical psychologist. I come to you today from Brisbane in Queensland in Australia. Oh, scratch my face, be careful, self-awareness. It's another video about the virus, and I'm sure you're all sick of it, to be honest with you, and turning away, and that's understandable because there's been that much exposure to it, and we just get fed up with it, don't we? So I suppose this video is about motivating people into action, and it's difficult to do that, especially when you can't see something. You know, when you can't see what I'm talking about, which is a virus, which is basically killing people around the world, and people don't want to hear that. You know, but this is actually a little tiny enemy that's killing people and making people very sick, and it's causing countries to close down. It's actually doing more damage than enemy soldiers in a war. But the difference is you could see the enemy soldiers. It's actually doing more damage than, say, a bomb being dropped or a bomb exploding. But you can see that, and you can remember that. And you know what that is in future, and we know what to do. You know, it's doing more damage than, say, infernos and cyclones and all those things. But we can see that. We can see those things, and we can remember them, and we can remember what things look like, and we can motivate ourselves. When we can see what things look like, then that's very powerful, because we have ideas in our mind and we have feelings associated with those ideas. And we can, it's easier to motivate ourselves because we can see things. When we can see things then that are dangerous, we want to get rid of them. We want to get rid of them so we can be safe again, right? And in addition, if we've got strong messages which are telling us that thing over there is unsafe, so we can see it, and someone is saying to us, that is unsafe, we need to do something now, right? And if they start this from the beginning, then it's easier, I think, to motivate people, especially if we're hearing messages that are rallying us together. Come together, people, come together and fight this. Well, in this particular situation with the virus, it's the absolute opposite, isn't it? We're having to socially isolate. We're having to be in our own place. So it's difficult to be together, isn't it? It's very difficult to be together physically. And it's very difficult because we can't see the enemy, right? And also it's difficult because, understandably, politicians are being very diplomatic. I personally think they're being a bit over diplomatic, to be honest with you, because they don't want to frighten people, right? So those three things together are very difficult to rally a population to when the population is needed to fight the enemy, the virus, right? Because right now, what we need is people to pressure manufacturers. If you're a person, if you just a citizen, we need you to form virtual groups on the internet, virtual groups like forums, and talk to each other. Right, I was watching I was on Facebook before, and there's somebody in my hometown back in England who's formed a virtual pub, PUP, public house, right? A virtual one on Facebook. And I think that's a great idea. That's a great meeting place, isn't it? It's where people meet anyway, but you can make it virtual. So we need people in communities, in actual physical communities, who are isolated, to initiate ideas like that, to bring people together into virtual groups, and chat with each other and organize pressure, either to influence important people, to pressure manufacturers, important. I don't mean particularly. I don't just mean politicians. I mean sort of big business people. Big business people, YouTube influencers, big powerful people. We need them to influence manufacturers immediately to start manufacturing emergency protection equipment for hospitals, otherwise known as PPE, personal protective equipment for hospitals. We need that now, immediately. If you want to save your country, do it now. Organize groups virtually, like a virtual pub, like they did in like they did in World War II. Meet somewhere in a virtual pub, online, from home, do it safely. I'm not saying go outside to the pub. I'm saying do it from home, right? Create a space where you can meet up, form virtual groups, and pressure important people to incentivize manufacturers. By that, what I mean is get important people, to either promise the manufacturer, if they change from making whatever they're making, let's say they're making clothes or whatever, right? If they, incentivizing means paying them to change, right? Because they're going to lose money, aren't they? Well, quite frankly, if there's no population to wear their coats or clothes, they're going to lose money anyway, aren't they? We're trying to save the company, the manufacturer, by getting them to make equipment for hospitals. I'm talking gowns, gloves, masks, PPE, right? To help save doctors and nurses so they can save patients. So we have people who will buy product from the manufacturer. So in other words, by saving people, we can save our economy, right? But we have to think about saving the fundamental aspects of the economy, which is people. And economy is people exchanging things, right? If you don't have people, or the people are sick, right, then there's no economy. There's no economy because they can't go to work. Where does the money come from if you can't work? Money is required, right? Money gets its value by representing something. Money gets its value by representing something that's been made or a service, right? But if the population is sick and they can't make anything or provide a service, then the money can't represent anything, can it? And it just becomes paper or a piece of metal or just a number, in a digital number in a bank account. It doesn't represent anything anymore. So we need to protect the doctors and the nurses, because they protect the people who go to work to make things and provide services, and that is required to give money its value, so the money can be used in exchange for other things. The money represents something then, and that's what an economy is, right? So think about that. Think about that, right? Just because, I know it's difficult because we can't see the enemy. We can't see it. And people might be screaming and shouting, oh my God, but you can't see anything. And if you can't see something, and we have nothing in our memory, because you've never seen it under a microscope or whatever, then because we use our memory, the whole purpose of a memory is to go into it, extract information that we can use to look at the current situation and understand it, and in terms of whether this is safe or unsafe. But if you don't have information in the memory in the first place, then what we tend to do is just reject it. Reject something, especially if you can't see it. It's not there, is it? Well, we don't know what it is. So we can't see it. It doesn't make sense to us. I don't know what he's talking about. And that's why people tend to minimize it, Because and another thing is, especially if people don't look ill, especially if they don't look ill, right? That's another thing. It's not like, say, the bubonic plague or something, where people had boils all over their faces. They looked ill. That looked terrifying. But people don't tend to look ill with this sort of virus. They look okay. And that's another thing, isn't it? That fools us, really. And even if they weren't okay, you still wouldn't see them because they'd be at home. They'd be at home. So there are these factors, number of factors. Like I said, we can't see it. We can't see it. And because we can't see it, we don't really have a memory of it. And if we don't have a memory of it, we don't really understand that it's serious or not. We can't make a judgment. But obviously, it is serious. It's very, very serious. And it's difficult to trust that. I know. I understand that. I understand it. But the evidence that it's serious is stock markets are crashing because a stock market is an indication of the economy. And the economy runs on the exchange of funds, doesn't it? Funds, money. Money represents something, like products or services, which are provided by people. And if the people are sick, they can't provide products or services, can they? They can't make them or provide services. So therefore, money becomes worthless. So therefore, companies that can't make anything, they become, companies are like money, right? Their value is based on, yes, how much money they've got, but the money is based on based on the perception that this company can provide lots of products now and services now, or can provide them in the future. But if you've got a very sick population, neither of those, especially the future one, can happen. So money loses its value. And that's why the stock markets are crashing. You can see that. You can see that. So we need to start rallying people in our virtual communities now. So ask yourself this: what would motivate you to invest in your country, to move forward, to be a soldier, to be a hero in the virtual world of providing content, writing, pressuring manufacturers either by forming virtual groups, writing content, or whatever you need to do, making phone calls to people, to influential people. And if you're an influential person yourself, if you've got contacts, then what would motivate you to call manufacturers? Think about that. Is it the safety of your children, your family? What is it that would motivate you? Right? Is it wanting to be a hero? Well, fine. Whatever it is, that's perfectly fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If it motivates you to get up and make some phone calls and fight for your country, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking fighting for an enemy, fighting for your country against an enemy that you can't see. Against an enemy that you can't see. Right? And that's so difficult. It's so difficult to do. But what you can see is the economies in various countries are falling. Right? And so we need to rally manufacturers now so they can make stuff to help the doctors get us better, so people can go back to work and make things and provide services which money represents. We need to do that now. And I know you're depressed. I know some of you are depressed and anxious and what have you, and some of you aren't. But for the ones of you that are depressed and anxious or bored, right, having a purpose like saving the country, saving the world even. If you don't like your own country, what about saving the world? What about saving the world, right? And again, you can't see all of it, can you? But you're here. You're here. You see the sun, you see the moon, you see the stars, you see the sky, you see the clouds, even if it's grey sky. You see the rain. You see all of that. And some of you might say, well, why should I do it? What have the government given me? I'm not talking about the government. I'm not talking about the government. So if you don't like the government, that's fine. I appreciate that, but I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the existence of the human race. And some people might say, well, fuck that, fuck it, right? So ask yourself, what would motivate you? And if you are saying, oh, fuck it, it's because somebody's let you down or betrayed you or made you feel let down or whatever, right? So ask yourself, so forgive them. And forgiveness doesn't mean letting them off the hook, by the way. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just frees you from that betrayal so you can move forward and do some good for yourself, right? And move forward and be strong and get something out of this life while you're on this beautiful planet that took billions of years to be here. And you took an evolution, if you believe in evolution, it took you 4 billion years for you to be here. 4 billion years of evolution for you to be here. And you might not want to appreciate that. And you might be cold and hungry and you've lost your job. I get that. I get it. Believe me, I've been there. I've been there. Really, honestly, I have been there. I've just given up my job. Gotten hardly any money, right? I don't know where my money's going to come from, right? But it will come if you just focus on a good thing. Focus on a good thing like saving your city or your village or your country or the world, your family, your friends, the pub. Pick on something. Choose something that you want to save and protect. It could be your dog. It could be a cat. I don't know, it could be anybody. It could be your nan, your auntie. It could be your son, your brother, your sister. It could be anything that's so precious to you, right, that you want to protect it. It could be the planet. It could be anything. Pick something. And if you can't feel it, that's okay. I'm not asking you to feel it. I'm asking you to think about something that you regard as important. Like freedom, for example. It doesn't have to be a tangible thing. It could be freedom. It could be art. It could be reading. It could be anything. Anything at all. Right? Something that would make you feel proud. And some people say, oh, you shouldn't feel proud. Well, I'm saying feel proud. Stand up and feel proud, because we feel good when we feel proud, when it's for a just cause. And this is a just cause, even if you can't see it. But you can see it in the economy. And you can see it, doctors and hospitals and what have you. They're tired and they're exhausted. These are the people that delivered you into the world. Let's pay back the favour. And even if you've been treated badly in life, and there's so many people, and believe me, I work with it all the time, right? And I know there's a lot of trauma and there's a lot of cruelty out there. I know, and that puts people off, good people off, from wanting to contribute. It's like, oh, you know, what did I get? What did I get in my life? Why should I try? Well, find something inside of you that would motivate you. If it's to be a hero, then I'm calling upon you to be a hero. And there's nothing wrong in that. And if anyone says there's anything wrong in it, it's more about them. It says more about them. And for those people who say there's something wrong or criticize, then I want you to be a hero too. I want you to feel accepted. Because that's where it comes from, really. It's just people want to feel accepted, but they don't really feel good enough to be accepted. Well, I'm telling you, you are good enough to be accepted. And you are good enough to be a hero. Every one of my team is a hero. Every single one of them. They're all volunteers. And every one of them is a hero. They might contribute a lot of hours or a few minutes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're giving something for the country. They're giving something so the country will continue to exist. because that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, it's urgent and you need to take action now. So three things. One, if you're a community member, form virtual community groups. Stay at home, stay safe, stay within the law. I'm talking about on the internet or by phone, right? Think World War II. Instead of meeting down the pub or wherever, meet online or on the phone, okay? And organize groups. One of you be the leader, one of you be the organizer. Organize groups and phone or email, just pressure, negotiate, do whatever you can to get manufacturers to make personal protective equipment. There is a worldwide shortage of it. Because it mostly all comes from China, right? From the CCP. So come on, start working. Call your manufacturers and say, what do you need to switch? Do you need money? If you need money, start pressuring influencers. And by influencers, what I mean is billionaires, millionaires. Get them to pay or to get them to collaborate with other millionaires. They're very brainy. That's why they got the millions. So, I mean, talking businessmen and entrepreneurs, right? Pressure them. Pressure the entrepreneurs. You know, the people with the brains and the money. Do it. If we don't do this, then the entrepreneurs themselves might be penniless. Because remember, money has to represent something, right? Either now or the potential of something in the future, right? And if the workforce is sick and nothing can be made, then even their money will be worthless. And some people might say, they deserve it. Well, no one deserves to starve to death or anything like that, do they? No one deserves any of that stuff. And that's what's happening in China, right? So, and it could happen in modern countries, in Europe or whatever, South America or whatever, right? So no one deserves that. No one deserves that. And I'm talking about anyone who thinks that needs to forgive whoever betrayed them, whoever abandoned them, or whoever let them down, right? Because that's all that is. It's just past stuff coming up. And be a hero. Be a hero. You can be a hero and you're worth it. Even if you don't feel it, you are. You have a chance to be a huge hero. You really do. You really do. So, you know, unleash the Superman, the Superwoman, the Superboy, the Supergirl inside of you and write. If you're in the Cubs or the Scouts or the Brownies or whatever, get in touch with your mates and start forming groups. Persuade your parents, persuade your teachers online, not talking about going outside. Pressure influencers to persuade manufacturers, or contact the manufacturers directly to make personal protective equipment for doctors and nurses, right? And if you are an influencer, go directly to manufacturers, or get a group of you together, like a coalition of millionaires or billionaires, right? And then do it. But for God's sake, do it now. Don't waste time. Every hour counts. And if you're a content writer, yeah, I'll leave a link for our group. I formed the New World Mental Health Organization. Right, I did it in my kitchen the other day. And this is my principles of this organization. I've got a wonderful team together. They're all volunteers. My principles are common sense, compassion, simplicity, insight, initiative, action, and truth. And purpose. It's having a purpose, a meaningful purpose that gets you up in the morning It feels great. Everyone should have a purpose. And what better purpose than to do something great for the world? Save it. Save the world. In whatever way you want to. Come to us. I'll leave the email at the bottom. Come to us. We can coalesce together. I've got some really big names on board now. I mean, really big names. I've even got an Olympic gold medalist now. Olympic gold medalist. I hope to do a video with her soon. Right. We've got some big scientific names too. Big names. Big names. So come on. Come on. Action now. Purposeful action. And if you don't want to do it, ask yourself why. And as customers let you down, forgive them and move forward. We're running to the sound of the guns, as Steve Bannon says. Run to the sound of the guns. We're in battle. We're in battle against a common enemy. We're in battle against a common enemy. Let's rally together. Let's rally together. And let's move forward. Right to manufacturers. Right to get them to change to make protective equipment. Or pressure them in some other way. Form a group. Call. Do whatever you can, as long as you're doing it from home and you're doing it safely. Form virtual groups, but do it now. Take action. Leaders of groups, I'm encouraging you. If you're a leader, or if you want to be a leader of a group, I'm encouraging you to form virtual groups now. Influencers, I'm encouraging you to focus on manufacturers now. Not tomorrow, now. Tomorrow never comes. Now. And manufacturers, I'm telling you now to change to make personal protective equipment. Don't wait. Come on, guys. Come on, women. Come on, boys. Come on, girls. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Wake up and step up.